Chapter 10. Everything's Connected. You may have heard of the circle of life in various places, cartoons, books, and movies. While it may sound like something for children to believe in, the concept is actually pretty spot on. Everything you do is connected to something else because it had to come from somewhere, and when you're done with it, it goes somewhere else. That's the basic concept behind all of the techniques described in this book. Let's look at a green example of how everything is connected. Use your imagination to visualize this, and it will become clear. Say that you live in a home where you grow much of your own food in your own yard, and you get your water from a nearby spring. You water the produce from the spring, and when it grows, you eat the food. From the leftover scraps of food, you create a compost pile in the yard. The food decomposes and nourishes the soil, making the next round of crops just as strong as the last. That's a very basic green example. What was taken from the earth was returned to it, and the cycle can continue with no harm done. Of course, most people don't live in a space where they can grow their own food or live by a spring. However, we do all live near places that sell organic food, we can filter our water, and we can decide against polluting. Looking back at that basic example, if we were to tie up our produce scraps in a trash bag and throw it out rather than put it into a compost pile, the soil wouldn't get nourishment from the decomposing produce. The trash bag doesn't decompose, so you've just created pollution. Where would you throw it? Maybe in the spring so that it's out of sight, out of mind? Well, over time, the spring's water will start to taste bad and potentially make you sick because it's had trash in it for months and years. As time passes, the trash piles up and doesn't go away. That's breaking the circle of life, which is what we do with many of the habits we have every day. Breaking the circle of life isn't sustainable, and even though it takes generations to feel the impact, that impact is guaranteed to arrive one day. It isn't some small impact either. Imagine only being able to use 3 gallons of water per day for your entire household. There are already countries in the world that have living conditions like this. 3 gallons is plenty, you might think, since we only have to drink 8 glasses of water a day. That's true, but don't forget you need water to clean yourself with, cook with, do laundry with, and more. 3 gallons of water is maybe 2 minutes in a low-flow shower. While many of the apocalyptic claims that are made, water shortages, food shortages, and resulting wars over the scant resources available, aren't going to happen to this generation, we are only a generation or two away from whom it is going to affect. It isn't just going to be that one day everything is fine, then suddenly one day everything turns bad. It gets progressively bad. So while we may not be alive to experience the effects at its worst, we will be there for the ride down. To sum it all up, take your time. Start with something you like first, and you will be successful. Going green is for the long term, so don't let hiccups in adjusting your habits get you down. You can always try again. Chapter Review. The circle of life is real. What comes from the earth should be returned to it, albeit in another form. As people, we break that circle of life, which is what causes pollution and degradation of the environment. When you make choices as to what you buy, how you use something, or how you dispose of something, take a moment to think of how that fits, or doesn't, into the circle of life. If it doesn't fit, try to adjust the practice to make it fit more, or at least come closer to fitting.